Hey there, it's Ben VandenWymelenberg, and you're watching the Millionaire Student Show with Sashin.
Ben, first things first, how do you pronounce your last name? I've been struggling for the past few minutes.
Yeah, so it's just how it's spelled, but it's VandenWymelenberg. So if you chunk it out, it's a little bit easier. But it's just how it's spelled. It's just really intimidating.
So what do you do? And how do you bring your vision to the world with everything starting to transition online and you still offline, physical, tangible, rolling up your sleeves?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, we all still need products, right? We still need phone cases. We still need journals to write in. We still need computers that work. And, a big passion of mine is producing American jobs here in the States. And the other piece of that is connecting people with nature. In this technological world of Instagram, Facebook, everyone's on their computers all the time. We make a lot of products out of wood that connect us back to nature. And so for every product that we manufacture, we actually plant a tree and help people through that journey and explain where that tree came from and who planted it and where it's planted to really bring us back and just at least take a couple minutes or maybe even a couple seconds out of our consumer day to get back to what we really came from. Nature.
You created Woodchuck.
Yep.
What was it? What was the intention? What is the purpose behind it?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, there was no intention when I started it. The intention was I had an iPhone 4 and I kept stabbing myself in the face with glass every time I had to answer the phone. So I literally just cut out a wood sticker and stuck it on the phone. I wanted to become an architect. I wasn't planning on starting a business. Wasn't planning on planting millions of trees all over the world. I just didn't want to stab my face with glass every time I answered the phone. But I started selling it to buddies here and there and realized after talking with a few mentors, and deciding should I go to grad school or should I start this business. When I sat down with them, I had 2 full ride scholarships to go to architecture school. And I said to the mentors, I said, hey, should I go start this business? At the time I had sold maybe 10 phone cases, right? And should I start this business or should I go to grad school? And both of them without hesitation, as you know, said, go start the business. You're going to learn more in 2 years than you ever will in grad school. So I started the business and here we are 7 years later.
So would you say you're more academic or more creative?
Definitely not academic, more creative. I'm in the academic world of Hard Knocks.
I mean, I'm a total and a straight D student.
Yeah.
So we can definitely relate. How did you get rid of your business partner?
Yeah. So I don't know what story Ken exactly is relating to on that one. But the first partner, actually, so the first business partner that I had, we left amicably. We started the business together and just realized, hey, it wasn't a fit anymore. So we split ways and I bought him out. There's another situation that's probably shouldn't talk about right now. But we'll maybe leave that one for a different episode.
Okay, great. So, I mean, you going to the Apple, with regards to Apple, the Apple Store, did it, hurt you guys or did it allow you to, grow? Did it play a role in helping you?
So a lot of times people think getting into big box stores, Apple, Target, Best Buy is exactly what they want to do when they come up with a product. When they come up with a widget or a gadget, a physical item, they say, oh, I want to get into Target, I want to get into Best Buy, I want to get into Apple. And that's what that's what the pinnacle is. And that's what a lot of people think the pinnacle is. Well, that's what we thought too. 6 months after starting the company, we were in all these big box stores, but what we had signed up for and we didn't really realize at the time was consignment. And we also didn't realize that we didn't have any of the backing, we didn't have any of the knowledge, we didn't have any of the back-end systems to effectively and efficiently keep distributing the product. And we ended up kind of failing in these big box stores. So we had to really reel it back, and we found some other great channels that we've grown since then and have become 10 times larger than I think we ever could have become in big box stores. But it was definitely what we thought. It's what the perception was, and what a lot of people think the perception is of being in these big box stores is you made it, right? You made it when you get to these big box stores. But in most cases, yes, there are some products that should be in these big box stores and it's a good fit based on the consumer and everything. But in most cases, that's not the best fit for the demographic.
How old are you right now?
I'm 29.
29. When you first started off Woodchuck, how old are you?
I can't do math very good. It was 7 years ago. So 21 or 22?
22 years old. You're 22 years old. You literally playing around with wood to put on a cell phone, an iPhone 4. It turns into a business that's done extremely well. 7 years later, you featured in multiple publications. And how does that feel? How does it feel to know, hey, I don't have to rely on my parents. I don't have to go out there and ask my parents for a car, a house, or, just there's so much of freedom. But at the same time, whilst you have freedom, you also have to make the right type of decisions.
Yeah, I think, I think it's definitely a mindset. I mean, I think that's what this show is really about, right? The Millionaire Student is in continuously learning. But I heard this quote, I don't know who said it, and there's a couple of quotes that relate to it, but I never have felt like ever I've made it. And it's said that I hope I never feel like that, because a lot of times when people start feeling like they've made it is when you really start losing, because you stop learning and you stop growing and you stop challenging the status quo and you stop thinking, I have to keep growing and I have to keep learning, I have to keep doing new stuff. If you think you're at the top of the mountain, there's no place else to go. And there's this quote, there's always a taller mountain, said the man standing at the top of the mountain. So it's the people that reach that pinnacle that realize they have to continue growing, climbing, or you die.
I can totally relate. I created a tagline called "Work Like You Broke." And this came along from just understanding you can't look left, you can't look right, you can't turn around. You just got to put your head down and work like you're broke. And I feel like, after listening to your story and understanding where you came from, working like you're broke, but what keeps you consistent? Like, you don't have to wake up on a Saturday and work. You don't have to walk into your office or the warehouse. But you still do, because as you mentioned, you said, there's no pinnacle, but there's more to it. I'm sure it's not a money goal right now.
Yeah, no, it's really not. Honestly, I think it's a life goal. Like it really does give me life to work and to continue growing. I went through this at one point in my life. I wrote about it in the book too. But I went through a really bad breakup, and I just kind of was feeling like I wasn't as needed at one of my jobs. So what I did is I took about 3 months off. I went to Saudi Arabia with one of my best friends, Nancy. I went to Antarctica for about a month and a half, and I traveled the world and really realized me not growing, or me realizing, hey, technically I could have retired. I could have retired 4 years ago. And I realized I don't want to retire. There's something about that inactivity that was really deadening to me. And the working and the growing and the meeting new people and starting new businesses is something that gives me life. And that's not something a lot of people understand. I think that's really the whole premise, right, of your show, is you realize that you get to be a millionaire by the mindset that you've grown into, or by the growing mindset, as opposed to you get to be a millionaire and then you like hang out. That's just not the case.
How many businesses do you own right now?
I don't even know, honestly.
So more than one?
Yeah.
So multiple businesses.
Over a dozen.
When did you start your second one?
It was probably a year or two after the first one.
It amazes me how people want to start multiple businesses at the exact same time and hope for one to hit, a home run. How important is it to stay focused?
Oh my God. I'm probably one of the least focused people on the planet, but thankfully I have great mentors, I have great coaches, I have great team members. Ken's told me this too, but a lot of people have said early on is you can't kill the goose that's laying the golden egg. You have to keep feeding that goose. You have to keep that thing surviving. You can't go off and start 15 other businesses right away. You got to make sure that one thing, that one business, and for me, that's Woodchuck, it's the first business I started. I needed to make sure that thing was healthy, that thing was growing, that I was providing enough and as much, resources I possibly could for that thing to keep growing and producing money, producing revenue, and, having an impact on the planet, in order to go do these other things, in order to go buy new real estate developments, in order to go write a book, in order to go out and go speak. All those other things really relied on the fact that, hey, this first thing has to work first. And luckily, I had really smart people around me saying, hey, Ben, You got to sit down. You got to focus. Otherwise, I would have probably tried to start 50 different businesses, and probably none of them would have worked.
You're 29. I'm 25. How do you compete with someone that's double our age?
Yeah, I really honestly don't think a ton about age. I grew up in the Midwest. We're a big, they call it Minnesota nice. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Haven't been there before.
Yeah, I'll take you snowmobiling this winter, and I'll give you the true Minnesota experience. But, it's this idea of, always respecting your elders. And I think, I have a lot of respect for elders and people that are younger as well. But at the end of the day, hey, we're all humans. And actually on an earlier episode of this, Jim says, there's age, but then there's the age of your mind and the age of kind of who you are as a person too. And I honestly really don't think about age that much. I had to fire a guy that was 52 3 days ago. I guess I didn't think much about it. He's a human, whether he's 15 or hopefully I'm not firing a 15-year-old because I think the legal working age is 16 in Minnesota. But, whether you're 50 or 30, you're a human being. And I guess my competitive advantage, whether you're 30 or 25 or 50, is outworking the competition always.
Without a doubt. Ben, as we speak right now, you're limitless. Your thinking is limitless.
Yep.
It was nothing like this on day one when you first started off in the entrepreneur world at 22.
Yeah.
As you start to succeed, it starts to change you. It starts to shift your mind in the right type of direction. But at the same time, it's because you have a little bit of freedom. Were you always like this? Did you always think big? Was there never limit, no ceiling to what you believe you're going to achieve and succeed on that level?
I think there's, I always thought that I could achieve things my parents taught me at a really young age that I could outwork anyone, no matter what it was. I wasn't the smartest kid in school. I didn't have all the cool toys, whatever, but I knew I could outwork anyone for what it was. And that's really kind of exponentially grown. And I'd say I always knew I had that work ethic, but as I grew and, acquired, mentors like Ken, and gone through, crazy things, both business and personal, that mindset of limitless continues to expand. I mean, if you would have said, 7 years ago, hey, Ben, at 7 years from now, you're going to have 3 different lawsuits going on. You're going to be running 4 different companies. You're going to be speaking internationally. I would have said, are you kidding me? There's no way, because my mind or like I like to say, my tent pegs, right, of my own personal who I am wasn't big enough at that time. And it continuously expands. And I'm continuously personally working on myself, who I am, what are my own personal limitations with myself, and kind of continuously expanding that mindset. So I think it just really goes back to growth mindset.
In your book, one of your chapters is why do we need to be the arseholes sometimes?
Yeah.
What do friends have to do with it? I mean, tell us about that specific chapter.
Yeah. So, again, and kind of this relates back to the idea of being selfish versus selfless. And a lot of times, people that don't see your true why, right? Like you have passions, you have things that you want to do, and I have things that I want to do personally, that are, some of them are outside my companies and some of them are not. Some of them are just, hey, I want to be the best dad in the world, or, I want to plant the most trees out of anyone on the planet. A lot of times people that can't see those deeper things or don't understand those deeper passions, they view you as an asshole or they view you as selfish. Hey, I can't go to your wedding this weekend because I have to be working. I have to be making phone cases or whatever your thing is, right? Or sending emails, whatever the thing is. And they might view that as, oh, you're an asshole or you're selfish. You're just thinking about yourself. No, it's actually the opposite of that, especially if you're in touch and you're in tune with your why. It's actually, you're being really selfless. Hey, I want to plant more trees than Teddy Roosevelt planted, 3 billion trees all over the planet. And the only way I'm going to do that, if I get really focused on that, and yes, that means I'm not going to make it to every event. That means I'm not going to be able to be there for everything. That means I'm going to have to say no a lot in order to be selfless enough to accomplish that kind of bigger why, that bigger goal. And I dive way deeper into it in that chapter too, but there's a lot of decisions that I've made over time where people have viewed me as an asshole. And we have to get okay with that fact that, hey, not everyone is going to be happy with your decisions all the time. And actually, probably most of the time, there's going to be people that aren't happy with your decisions. But if you check yourself, if you say after whatever event happened and you have 500 people that are pissed off at you for a post you did or whatever it is, if you check in, hey, am I being true and authentic? And am I really being authentic to my why and to accomplishing what I want to do? Then I think you're on the right track. Now, if you're just being an asshole, you're just being an asshole. But I think if you're checking in with that why and your authentic why, I think keep going on that path.
To date, your company's planted over 1.5 million trees as we speak.
Yeah.
And you've made it your mission for every product sold, you plant one tree.
That's right. Yep.
You've hired over 50 people from day one. Did you always have a clear and concise picture of the end in mind?
No, absolutely not. I mean, again, I said this a little bit earlier too, but if you would have told me 7 years ago what I'm doing now, would I believe that? Absolutely not. But, again, that's a part of the growth mindset. If you would tell me what I'd be doing in 7 years from now, I probably wouldn't believe you either, right? But it's this idea of just continuously growing and being open to change and being open to failure and being open to what the idea is of failure. I think it's...
Whilst we're on failure, what is one stumbling block that you rock solid, you hit the wall and you realize, hold on, I'm actually, getting tested.
Yeah.
There's another level that's going to take me to another level.
Yeah, totally.
What was it?
I think this is one of my favorite stories. So this is about 3 years into the business, and I grew up on a farm. Again, didn't have any money growing up, and always thought that people that got sued were terrible people, right? No matter what the reason was, I always thought, hey, if you get a lawsuit, you're a terrible person. You're going to jail or you're going to prison or whatever. They're going to chop your hands off or whatever the deal is, right? Well, I got my first lawsuit 3 years into the business. We had a disgruntled vendor. It's a longer story, but I got sued for $1.5 million. And at the time, I had no idea even what that kind of value meant or what that number even really meant, because the largest sum of money we dealt with up to then was like $50,000, right? So I'm thinking, oh my God, 1.5 million. And I remember exactly where I was. I was walking on the sidewalk and I stopped right outside this liquor store, probably to go get a case of beer after it. And I had my head up against this rusty pole. And the only thing I thought to do was call Ken, my mentor. And I said, I called Ken and I got him on the phone and I said, Ken, man, dude, everything's over. I'm going to have to shut the company down. I just got sued for $1.5 million. Like, everything's over. And he goes, Ben, congratulations. And I looked at the phone. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? I said, Ken, dude, did you hear me? I said, no, I said I just got sued for $1.5 million. He said, no, congratulations. And at this point I'm thinking, okay, is Ken on drugs? Is he drinking a little bit too much? What's going on with Ken right now, right? And no, he said, Ben, congratulations. He said, most billionaires have about 15 lawsuits going on at any time. Congratulations. You made it to the next level. You made it to the next level. You made it to the next step. And in an instant, my mind switched from, oh man, I'm screwed. Everything's over, to I want to be a millionaire. I'm on my way to being a millionaire. And this is one of those steps on my journey to becoming a millionaire. And very grateful, for Ken in my life and all the mentors in my life. But that was one moment where I really said, I think it's over. I think it's done. Thankfully, I had great people surrounding me, in my, what I call conscious circle, helping me through these difficult times.
Adversity causes you to break records. You've become a record breaker after that stepping stone of adversity. And when you truly look at it, in the entrepreneurial world, you've got to make sure that you understand, to get to the top, people are always going to try to bring you down. People are always going to look at you and say, hey, why does he have it and I don't? Why is he succeeding at that level and I don't? How can I take it away from him? Ben Vander, you got to help me finish this.
VandenWymelenberg.
Thank you so much for being on the Millionaire Student Show, and I appreciate your time, your knowledge, your wisdom, and most importantly, just the grit. I see it. You're hungry. You're 29. You're going to make way more than what you're currently making. You're not chasing the money. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.